So, Mike, let's just dive right into it. Do you
Sounds
remember
good.
where you were and what were your first thoughts when you saw the video or the news about Trump's assassination attempt?
I mean, it's strange. It's like, I guess, I think someone has said it before. It's like when you've been like calling somebody like Hitler or like a tyrant or a fascist or whatever, and you shouldn't be shocked that like someone tries to kill him. And so I guess it's like on one hand, I guess it is kind of a surprise in a sense that yeah, that this never happened before. I don't recall an attempted assassination of a presidential candidate, a former president. But it's a long time coming. So, it might sound twisted, but I'm not surprised in the least, you know.
You remember where you were the first time?
I think it was in my bedroom. I was just like, I was just, scrolling over, social media. I was like, they're saying some weird things like, hey, it looks like something big's going on. And I haven't been using Twitter in a while. So it was actually like, oh, okay, that happened. And I'm like, I think now that I think about it, it's probably like around nighttime or something. It's one of those like, well, that happened, like time to go to bed.
Indonesian time? Oh yeah, you're in Indonesia. Yeah, I actually saw the video like 8 in the morning.
Mm.
Um, so right when I woke up. At first, I don't know if you thought about this. At first, I thought it was AI. I genuinely thought it was fake news. That's like unfortunately the first instinct that comes up to mind. Did that ever come across your mind?
You know, I don't. That's funny because that actually I didn't think about that. It's like, you
Really?
know what?
How could you not
Here's the
though
thing.
these days?
It's because I think I've heard it from like, the people I follow. It's like, okay, I can trust
Oh,
these guys not to put in some deep fake or some fake stuff. So I don't
oh,
know. Maybe
okay.
I'm just being naive, but it's like, okay, I kind of trust the source. So that's how it is on my end.
Well, I actually saw it. When you open Instagram, the
Mhm.
algorithm feeds you random things. So I didn't see it because someone I trust posted it. It was just Instagram basically gave me the
Oh.
the algorithm. That I saw the video and even the video, um, unless I checked it with other sources, even after seeing the video, I thought it was an AI video somehow. But
You,
after I
you know,
checked, yeah.
I can understand why you think that because I remember like it was like during the like the Copa America and stuff. I saw on YouTube, hey, it's like Argentina beat Canada 3-0. And I'm like, wait, this already happened? And then my dad told me, no, this is like fake video. This is
Yeah,
everywhere. And I'm
yeah.
like, wow, it's like I guess maybe it's an Indonesian thing, but like, or maybe I don't know. It's yeah, my senses aren't fine-tuned for that.
But after confirming it with other resources, and this is why like verification is so important. After confirming it with like other Instagram accounts that are legit, that have like many millions of followers and they have that blue tick, and then after looking at it from different sources, and then that's when I thought, damn, I can't believe a bullet literally went. They said it was, yeah, on the upper ear, right? And the first thing
So
that I
close.
thought was JFK. That was that's like it's a headshot, right? It's a headshot.
Yeah.
I remember
Hmm.
Ronald Reagan was shot too, and presidents have been aimed at
Hmm.
literally,
Hmm. Yeah,
uh,
that's why the Secret
aimed at,
Service there.
but a headshot. I mean, the last time it happened, like a legit headshot, was probably JFK. But with JFK, it hit. But with Trump, it was, they say, it was in half an inch away. Um,
Yes, like the ear, right?
yeah. Did you did you look at the details, by the way, of
Um,
the shooter and the location? I did the research. We can discuss it. It's insane. Did you do any of that?
I do like a little like, where it is, and it's like some of them is just not adding up kind of thing. It's
Mm,
like how did the shooter get there? It's
yeah.
like I feel like the house like or like where he was, it's like, if you're like any halfway competent security team, that would have
That's
been like a clear like a clear like, okay, you let's secure this. Let's send somebody. You don't even have to send somebody like competent. Just send like some kid and put him there. Just keep an eye on that place. It's like it's like I don't know, because maybe it's my like TSA mind here is like because I remember
Oh,
seeing
that's
like what
right. You have that
yeah, it's like
background, don't you? Yeah.
yeah, it's like okay, like some weirdo can like shoot us all from that vantage point and blah 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 blah. And like, you know what? It's just something we accept, like it's like if you're like a mall cop or something. Maybe some weirdo can go off and like whatever. But it's like it's the president and you're like Secret Service or whoever's in charge, and you didn't see that coming, you know. Like I guess maybe I'm just being overly suspicious, but I'm just saying, it doesn't make any sense, the whole details. And if you want to get into that, maybe since you do the big research, maybe
That's
you know what to say.
exactly what I wanted to get into, right? The nitty-gritty of it. And look, let's let go of this taboo of, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, no, I'm
Mhm.
just looking at the data, and whatever people want to call me, fine. Like, I'm an Indonesian. I don't have a dog in this race. It's just interesting.
Mhm.
Um, let's just look at the facts, okay? Because after researching this and after listening to people's opinions, this is like utter incompetence to the high at the highest level. This is like the most negligent, silly faux pas ever.
Mhm.
So it's either that, or it's actual malice, like
Mhm.
conspiracy, the whole damn thing, the whole Alex Jones uh
You know,
conspiracy thing.
I've actually heard like leftists kind of saying, well, the whole thing's like staged or whatever, and to make Trump look good. And I'm like, he
What?
was like this inch close of like getting his brain popped off. But I kind of get it because the details don't make any sense. And if you're a lefty who hates Trump and you're trying to like make sense of the whole thing, yeah, that's gonna be the conclusion you're gonna go through.
But I haven't heard that before. I mean, some people on the left said that this was planned by the right to make him look good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I
It's
I
like
haven't heard that. Oh, that sounds, yeah. I haven't
the
heard that
right
one.
was like the whole thing was staged, and then Trump knew it was coming, and that's why he raised his fist, like
Oh my
like that.
God.
It's like
Yeah,
like
that's
'cause that's a great picture, right?
exactly, yeah.
That's like a meme picture. It's like picture says 1,000 words, and that's like a whole story in and of itself, right? And yeah, I mean, again, if you're a left winger and you're like, you hate Trump and you're trying to like, you know, you're trying to like cope with the whole thing. You're like, yeah, this whole thing's fake to make Trump look good. Again, it doesn't make any sense, but it's like I can see the logic, you know.
I guess uh nothing is out of bounds at these crazy times.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of conspiracy theory. Um, again, going back to the facts.
Mhm.
So the shooter his name was Thomas Matthew Crooks. Okay, he was 20 years old. 20.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Tim Kennedy. He was in a podcast. He was a former Green Beret military guy. He believes this 20-year-old used an AR-15, an automatic rifle, right, which is a
Mm-hmm.
big ass gun. This is not like a handgun you can hide
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. This is a big gun, and he was
Mm-hmm.
shooting it 150 yards away. Yards is the same as meters for the Indonesians who are 150 meters away. So it's like it's in your eyesight. It's 1.5 soccer fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah, yeah.
you can actually see someone 150 yards away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so actually, that's like forget about everything else. That's like kind of weird. Usually, when a president or former president, as far as I know, when they do a speech or something, it's like kilometers are blocked,
Mm-hmm.
roads are blocked. There's a perimeter of kilometers or miles,
Mm-hmm.
and then the fact that a 20-year-old can access the rooftop,
Mm-hmm.
a building that close with a gun like that big,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to not think silly things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I did look at like I think the place or like it's like Butler, Pennsylvania. I
Yeah, yeah,
looked
yeah,
it up.
yeah.
It's a very rural area. So I don't know, maybe it's like easy to get guns there and it's like or it's like it's easy to miss things like that. But I don't know. It's like like again, it's like um it's just so weird and it's like we know that the whole establishment kind of people in the government, they didn't like Trump. They don't want Trump anywhere near the White House again. At least that's how it feels. So it's like is it beyond what they're capable of to, to allow this or even to like set it up? Especially since he's dead, right? Like the guy's dead now, right?
Who?
Right? The shooter.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was shot right away, like
Yeah, so
right
dead
away
men
on
tell
the
no tales,
scene.
right?
Huh. Okay.
It's like I think the same thing happened to the JFK killer, right? He was killed too. And and now you never know what's we can't listen to him talk because dead men tell no tales.
Right. From your TSA perspective, even from my logical perspective, I know the Secret Service has tremendous resources. I mean, we're talking about the richest
Hmm.
country on the planet here. It wouldn't be so difficult. It would take a lot of incompetency to not be able to locate all the buildings, let's say within 1 kilometer away,
Hmm.
and then just block the roof access to all of those buildings and put two guys with two armed guys, or even one in every building, every access of the rooftop. Like it would
Hmm.
seem like something so simple.
Hmm.
Again, I just keep going back to this because there's definitely something going on. And have you heard this one? They say that the Biden administration, since Biden came in, DEI, diversity, uh, equity, and inclusivity, I think
Didn't earn
the
it.
the
Okay,
hiring
sorry.
the
Sorry. Yeah, I
hiring
know what you're
yeah
talking about.
the hiring process has become so woke, so they hired more women, more this, more blah
Yeah.
blah blah
Oh
in the
yeah,
Secret Service
I
instead
was
of yeah
actually yeah, I was actually thinking about that
yeah.
because like here's a counterpoint. Okay, so we're talking about this and we're kind of assuming that the Secret Service were as competent as they were like say in the 80s or back in the day, right? But
Hmm.
maybe they're not anymore. It's like if there's one thing I notice about like American um infrastructures, institutions. It's not just the government, but also corporations,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
sports, things like that.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
they're
absolutely.
not as good as they used to be.
Exactly.
I see like I see was like the Secret Service like head or director was a woman. And I'm like, yeah, like what's the point of that? You know, it's like um so the idea that they're incompetent and that they just didn't see that coming, I can see it. You know, I can also see it, especially as someone who was in the US government. Like, you know, it's like I can see like, yeah, man, how I can see them like doing something, you know, screwing up like that. But, you know, who knows,
You
you know, like it's
you were mentioning the sports, just
hmm
a lot of institutions. Uh, you were mentioning the head of the Secret Service.
hmm
And by the way, this is big in the academic institutions. The president of Harvard, Claudine
hmm
Gay, is a black academic,
hmm
and it's like like the president of Harvard
Oh
used
yeah,
to
the one who
be.
plagiarized her like
Yeah.
thesis or something like that.
The former president of Harvard, I can't remember. He was like a Nobel Prize winning economist, and then
Hmm.
I can't remember his name. Yeah, just a legendary Nobel Prize winning economist. Um, and then after the woke thing, the DEI, diversity, ex- equity thing came in, and then Claudine Gay, as a black academic, came in, and she didn't really have like great academic background or something, or she plagiarized or
Oh.
something. It's definitely like a reflection of the woke hiring movement.
hmm
And a military person actually blamed uh, the DEI woke movement in the hiring process. And he said something funny. He's like, if we in the military, if you have DEI, you're gonna end up with DIE. Like, that's such a good way of saying it, right? Because there's
Yeah,
so
I
much
mean,
incompetence.
yeah, it didn't earn it.
Joe
Yeah.
Rogan in his podcast, he was like looking at the video, and there was like two women. So there was an army of people escorting Trump just
Mhm.
from the place where he was shot in the ear to the car, and there was two like short women like
Yeah.
not knowing what to do and pulling
Oh
out
yeah.
her gun and then putting it back in, just like clueless. And then
hmm
yeah, he was like saying, "How can someone like that be hired?"
hmm
Of course, we're not. We're speaking anti woke here, but it's absolutely true when you're talking about the most badass security service. You can't be uh equitable in any way, right?
hmm Yeah, I mean, again, it's like it's again that's what you call they don't care about like, you know, getting the job done. They're more concerned about like scoring like, you know, diversity points or like trying to make themselves look good. It's like style over substance. And like I said, it's
Oh,
like
that's a good way of putting it. Style over substance.
it's something that's like in American institutions anywhere. Like I don't know, like again, I don't know if you're a sports guy, but I've been following like, you know, the whole NBA and like, you know, like no LeBron James has his kid in the what you call in the Lakers now. And you know, and people saying, well, he doesn't earn it. He didn't earn it, right? But you know, the narrative is like, this is so great, you know, because it's the first time ever we have a father and a son playing together in the league. And then it's like, but the son isn't any good. I mean, I mean, he can barely like he was like the second best player or third best player in the summer league. And then when he first came in, he was really bad. So it's like so you know it's not he's not there because if it's like if his last name had been anything other than James, he wouldn't be touching a basketball court, an NBA basketball court. But because they're more concerned about like, oh, this is a feel good story. They're trying to like, oh, he's drafted. It's like,
Did they
and again,
just
it's like,
it just happened? This just happened? I didn't
yeah,
hear about
this
that.
happened like around this month. Like he was drafted like last month, and like it's been going on. And it's kind of a fiasco. It's kind of funny to be honest, but it's like I do see like there's a connection, right? It's not just an isolated, it's like, oh, like this incompetence, like the incompetence is everywhere. It's like if you there's the pattern to it.
Right, right. What do you think about the so there's the incompetence of the security team so far, but
Mhm.
getting away from that for a moment, the shooter himself, the 20-year old, uh, is it mental health? Is it I don't even know where to start. Like you
Well,
just
we
can't.
don't know, right? Because
Yeah,
he's dead.
exactly. But so what is it then? Like
Like you see, if we could, I'm just saying it's like the JFK shooter was killed and then we never know what happened. And now this guy is killed and I don't think we'll ever know what happens. So who knows, there might be something going on, it's like that's just what you call speculation, but I wouldn't be surprised, who's to say?
you wouldn't be surprised what if
If like
it
someone's trying to like off Trump, someone from the higher up, but
oh
like from the
and then
yeah,
he's
from
using a
the
20-year-old kid
hmm
as a
yeah, he's a
bait.
patsy,
Okay.
right? Or whatever you call it, because who knows, it's like, is he just a lone deranged gunman? It's like, or maybe um, there's just a lot to unpack, it's like maybe he is deranged, and maybe he's deranged because, well, the rhetoric's been like, well, Trump is Hitler, and he's like a fascist. He's destroying the country. He's our enemy. Well, what do you do with an enemy? If you're talking like there's a war going on, and then he's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
enemy, well, of course, someone's gonna go off and like grab a gun.
From your experience in the TSA,
Mm.
how wait, did you actually have access to a gun?
Oh no, no, thankfully, because
Okay, you weren't that kind of you weren't
yeah,
doing that kind of
that's
job.
like yeah, that's like would be customs. They have guns. I think most airport security don't have like guns or like old school cops.
Oh,
No, no,
really?
we're just kid. No, no, I'm just kidding. But it's
Oh,
like we're just security, so it's like it's not like we're beating people up. It's like we're just making sure people, things are great. X-ray and stuff like that.
how easy it is in the United States to get a gun. I mean, this is a 20
I
year
mean, it,
old
it depends
with
on where you are. I think like where I am, it's like there's a hmm?
you probably gotta repeat that
Hello?
the connection.
Yeah, yeah, connections cutting.
How easy it is to get a gun in the States.
Um, like I said, it depends on where you are, right? It's like in my where I used to live in Maryland, not that easy because again, you need a permit. I always remember trying to get a gun, because I thought it would be fun. And it's like me and my brother, and we're like, at some point, we're just like, now let's just get like an old school like antique gun because apparently you don't need a permit for that.
Oh, really? There's a difference there, huh?
Yeah, if it's like a black powder weapon, you don't need a
Oh,
permit. But if it's like
oh.
like an actual you know like modern gun, you do need a permit. And like I don't remember the process. Like I don't know pro- how the process would go, but because I never went through with it. But it's like I can't imagine it's a pleasant process. So it might be annoying, but that's Maryland. If it's Pennsylvania, like I don't know, maybe not, but it's like Pennsylvania also has some like Republicans, has some Democrats, maybe I'm pretty sure the gun laws are less strict, but I don't know. Like so it's easy, but not that easy. Probably easier than in Indonesia, but it's not as easy as you think, you know?
Oh, really? I thought the perception, maybe it's just the media thing capturing me.
Hmm.
I thought everywhere it's like you just need, as long as you're a legal adult, you
Hmm.
can, you can, you can get it. But apparently they have
Now
like
you need a
background
permit.
checks.
Yeah,
Yeah, but what do you
background
mean by
check.
a
Yeah, so
permit though? What do you mean by a permit?
no, you need to get a permit from your state, right? So let's say Pennsylvania, and then like you probably do a background check, things like that. Um,
Do they
like
differentiate?
chances are,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep going.
what's up?
Do they
I
differentiate
don't know. I miss
between like automatic
getting the connection
weapons
again.
and do they differentiate between automatic weapons and like a normal handgun?
I don't know enough to be honest, but it's like you do again. I think in most states, I can't speak for like all 50 states, you definitely need a permit. So it's not like you can just go to like a gun show or whatever you call that and just, hey, I want to buy a gun. And it's like, oh sure, here it is. Like it doesn't work like that. It's like it's like buying a drink, right? You need to show your ID, but with like guns,
Oh,
again, you need to show your permit. And then like if you're carrying a gun, there's this thing called a concealed carry, so like you do need a permit not just to buy the gun, but to like carry the gun around. Again, I'm not too familiar with the whole thing. They might be one and the same, but it's um like I said, it's not as easy as you think. Like maybe if it's like
mm, mm.
super red state, like in the South, maybe a little easier, but we're talking about Pennsylvania. So there's like there's like it's as a battleground state. So like I said, it's not as easy as people think.
Yeah. I wonder, sometimes I wonder what would happen if because people say it was like a half an inch away from being
Hmm.
lethal.
Hmm.
What what would happen if actually it's like or almost unimaginable, isn't it? What would happen if Trump was literally assassinated? Like, don't you? The whole world will sort of change, right?
Yeah, like who's like not just the world? Well, first, like in America, it's like who's gonna run for president, right? It's like like we know that Joe Biden is like, let's be honest, leave it at that. And like, and then Trump is the only one who's like has enough energy in the Republican Party to actually like like to move people. It's like so if Trump dies, the right wing in America is kind of screwed, at least for the next few years. So that's also why like people be like, yeah, someone's trying to get rid of him, you know. So it goes back to there again, like what's going on?
I read, I don't know if you know Sam Harris or not. He has a podcast and he has a Substack also. He's like an intellectual, political commentator.
Hmm.
An interesting thing that he said was, you need more, we need to go back to civility in the United States. We can't have um, old Western shootouts in politics. Uh, we need to go back to more decency and civility. But he said, and let me tell me what you think. But he said it's ironic because Trump himself kind of degraded civility in American politics. He is the number one person in modern history, let's say, that
Mhm.
completely degraded civil conversation and politics. What do you think?
I mean,
Any truth?
there's like being vulgar, and there's literally shooting someone with a gun.
Aha.
So,
Okay.
it's like, okay, Sam Harris, is he a lefty or a right wing? Right, I don't.
He hates Trump, but he is not a supporter of Biden. He is not a supporter of Biden also.
Okay, so he's like kind of a never Trumper kind of guy. Is that okay?
He was never a Trump supporter. He keeps saying Trump is like Trump can say anything and his supporters will always follow him. Uh, yeah, he was never a Trump supporter.
I mean, okay, so I mean, I'm just thinking like, okay, we need to go back to civility. And I can understand when people think like, well, Trump, he is a loudmouth. Like, I'll be honest, like I'll be fair with that. And I get that people don't like his like, I don't know, run and gun style, just
Hmm.
says something and then like clarify later. Well, clarify never, but
Yeah, yeah.
um, but it's like on the other hand, it's like again, like I said before, the left has spent years, man. It's like, again, Trump is Hitler. Trump is the worst thing ever. And then you gonna like, and then of course someone's gonna go off and like try to off him. It's like, oh, you've spent years telling people this guy needs to die, and then you're surprised that someone tries to make good on that. And so when we have like the people who hate Trump, saying like, oh, we need to return to civility. Like, well, it's too late for that. How about I'm sorry? I'm sorry for my rhetoric. I'm sorry I like said some most horrible thing to this guy that some psychopath went off and tried to kill him. How about that? How about an apology? How about say I'm sorry instead of, oh, oh, it's we need civility and Trump destroyed civility. Like that sounds like blaming the victim to me, so I'm not impressed.
Blaming the victim, right, right. Is there a sense that what he did on January 6th, when was it? January, the Capitol
Yeah,
thing.
six, like 2020.
20,
I
yeah.
don't remember. It's like 2020, 2020. Yeah, I think it's 2020 or
Is there
2021.
is there a sense that what he did there went beyond um, rhetoric and actual inciting actual violence? I mean, this is like the debate everyone
I
keeps
mean,
them.
I'm still like not buying that Trump had anything to, like Trump was the one who caused that per se. Because again, if we want to say like, hey, weird things going on, you can say the same thing about January 6th. You got like, I think there's videos where like the security guard literally opened the Capitol for the protesters to enter. So it's like it's literally a trap. And like maybe Trump walked into that one. Maybe Trump knew something. I don't know. But it's like, I don't know. It's weird when people try to blame Trump for that because like um was he really responsible for that, or is just some loose cannons, you know, and who walked into a trap that's set up by, whoever? Because again, it's Washington D.C. Like, I don't know if you know this, but it's like Washington D.C. is like very Democrat. They don't like Republicans. They don't like Trump. So it's
Okay.
like yeah, it was a hostile territory for like conservatives. So was there a so it was a setup to me, like from what I can tell in January 16th, that was a setup.
Yeah. Compared to Indonesian politics, is it much more that word comes in again? Is it much more civil here?
I mean, wasn't like the governor of Jakarta went to jail though?
Oh yeah, yeah, for commenting on
Mm.
yeah, yeah, Muslims and
Yeah, but
things.
I would say, maybe not politics per se, but it's like, I guess, like, I remember, like, back in the day, like, early 2000s, like, after, like, 9/11 and the whole war on terror, I remember, like, I remember saying this in one of my, like, Substack comments. It's like, because I think one of the comments talking about like the Muslims and Christians in Indonesia, and I'm saying like things are better here than they were like when I was growing up, because I don't have to worry about some psychopath going off and blowing up a mall with an IED or blowing up a hotel, which happened, right? And like I and that's the one thing about in America, you don't have to worry about some psychopath going off and killing somebody. But now the situation's reversed. Now we were in America, people do worry about some psychopath going off with a gun, shooting schools, or trying to assassinate a presidential candidate. And in Indonesia, we don't really worry about like a mall getting bombed anymore. It's like so it's like that there's a cycle into that, and I guess it's kind of interesting to take a look. You know,
Why do you think um why do you think in Indonesia there's not as much violence as there is in America today? Talk about right now today. It's too complicated if we talk about like
mm,
historically, whatever, like right now.
mm,
The just compare the presidential elections, the most recent one where Prabowo won, and the right now where what do you think the difference is? I have my own thoughts
mm.
about it, but why are
I
there
mean,
guns in America, shoot riots and assassination attempts in America, but not in Indonesia?
I think I don't know. I think well, not I don't know, but it's like I would say that I think Americans just don't know how to act. That's a weird way to put it, but it's like they don't have like I remember someone said it like they don't have the form. Like like the American culture, they don't like the American culture, they don't really know, like again, Americans don't know how to act anymore. I think I remember like again, it's like in my article I wrote, I call like, Istiklal is the Indonesia's national church. By that, I mean, it's like this is the religious identity of the nation that kind of informs the people how they're supposed to act, even if you don't necessarily believe in that religion yourself. Like, like I'm not a Muslim, but I can respect the people there, so to speak. Now, in America, that the national church is the Episcopal Church. Like America is a Protestant, like Anglican-ish nation, right? Now, unfortunately, like Protestantism in America has collapsed, right? So they don't really have
Yeah,
any like
yeah.
like they don't have any like religious identity to inform them. Like sure, like
Mm, mm,
there are a lot of Catholics, a lot of evangelicals, a lot of Muslims, things like that, right? But in terms of like unified, organization that informs the
mm-hmm,
people, this is
mm-hmm,
the proper way to act. They don't have that. Like it's
mm-hmm.
it's gone. In Indonesia, we still have that. Like even if you're not a Muslim, you kind of like, okay, this is how Muslims are supposed to act. This is how like this is where like when you're like you're being like that's just when you cross the line, you kind of understand like, okay, maybe if I do that, I'll cross the line, so I won't. Like in America, people don't do that anymore. There's no like national church that's really
Yeah,
functional. They don't know, so we don't know when we cross the line.
yeah. This is so fantastic. This is exactly what I was going to say. In my mind, is it was a different. Actually, me and Fiona thought about this. We thought about the same thing, but in different terms. America, it's we said it in terms of individualism. There's a whole
Mm-hmm.
lot of individualism in America. It's a very individualistic society. My rights. I
Mm-hmm.
have the rights as a sovereign, blah blah blah, sovereign citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Some people even say that. Some people, there are a lot of people in America who doesn't believe in paying taxes, right? They're like, I'm a sovereign state. They literally said, I this body of mine is a sovereign state separate from the United States. Therefore, it's like America is a very I individualistic society. So that kind of when human beings don't have this constraining ideology, you said something about religion. Um, and America is also it's a individualistic and very secular society.
Mm-hmm.
When you mix those two up, you get something like, I don't know, nihilism, like I
Mm-hmm.
can do whatever I want and nothing matters anyway. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. So you have no constraints. And that's where this extremism comes in, when you have a very secular society, individualistic. Like you said, there's no lines. Where are the lines if you're a secular and you just think about yourself more than
Mm-hmm.
other people? Um,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. What's the identity of America? It's like there's
Marvel
no,
movies.
yeah, it's like, what is it then? It's like modernity, it's consumerism, it's
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, iPhones, something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's very individualistic.
you just buy the next, consume. You just consume, and then when you're done, you consume the next thing. It's like that's what it means to be an American.
And yeah, there's this loss in a force that's constraining. Someone said an interesting thing about America is that uh, in the UK, the prime minister
Mm-hmm.
has to answer to someone, which is the queen, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
though the queen is like only like a symbol, she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really have any power, like
Mm-hmm.
literal power to kill us, but it's like a symbol that the prime minister has to bow down to the to the queen, right? You have to be respectful and sort of answer to some higher power than himself or herself. In America, you have this image of Uncle Sam, right? This
Mm-hmm.
uncle, but
Yep.
he's not really real. There's no real Uncle Sam that Donald Trump has to answer to, or the president has to answer to. Again, it's a very individualistic society. What is it that is above America, that constrains America? It's
Like,
it's consumerism. It's yeah.
yeah. It's like they used to answer, well, we answer to the Constitution. And
Yes, yeah.
now that I think about it, but like it's a piece of paper, man. It's like, you know, like, I mean, I'm not disrespecting like the work that the founding fathers of America went to
Hmm.
writing it. It's like it's a piece of paper. It's like if you don't have any like authority to tell you, okay, here's what acceptable or not acceptable. Well, it doesn't matter if you have a book or a paper. You need a person, right, to actually tell you, like a lawgiver, right, not just the law. Because where does the law come from? If it comes from nothing, then there's really nothing that. Then why should I follow it?
In Indonesia, there's still a strong sense of religion, even though everyone
Mm-hmm.
has different religions, but this concept of God, and you said about crossing the line, right? There's some
Mm-hmm.
societally speaking, there's like taboos. You just I don't know how even to explain it. It's like as an Indonesian, you're like, okay, like just don't act a fool here. Okay, you have your religion, you have your family, there's the society. It's not so individualistic as America.
Mm-hmm.
Is America still a Christian nation? I feel like it's a Christian nation, but for individualistic purposes. Even
Mm-hmm.
Christianity is like it's it's uh it's it's becoming a business, like the big churches and the hill songs and the
Mm-hmm.
it's not really true deep religion.
Yeah,
Is there truth to that?
yeah, I mean, like the again, like I said before, the historical churches, like the Episcopals, the Lutherans, I think, Presbyterians, like they're all like collapsed. They're all like basically just empty, and like a lot of them kind of sold out their beliefs, right? There's this thing called rainbow churches. Have you been into America? Chances are you see like an old line Protestant church, it's gonna have a rainbow flag or a BLM flag
Oh,
because like
right.
yeah,
Oh,
'cause they don't believe in Jesus anymore. They believe in like they believe like to them like the church is just a social club. They're not there to worship God. They're just there to like um I don't even know what they're there for. Like for old ladies to gather and bake cakes. Like it's like it's a joke.
it's interesting. I think there is a social component to religion, just
Yeah.
like there's a social component, Christmas, things
Hmm.
like that. We're, of course, none of us are denying that.
Hmm.
It's great to have a community and to sing songs and blah, blah, blah. But if you only focus on that part
Hmm.
and sort of let go of the tradition, uh,
Hmm.
by the way, did this Christian culture, Christian bands, the Hill songs,
Hmm.
did that come from America, the United States?
I mean,
The,
funnily enough, I think Hillsong is from Australia, first and
really?
foremost.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But I think the whole mega church thing is definitely from America. And it's like what happens is that, because like the mainline Protestants, they collapsed, right? And a lot of them became like gay, like, I mean, in the literal sense of the word, they start flying, like LGBT flags. So a lot of like the more conservative Christians, they're like, well, we don't want to like hang around here anymore. So that's why like the evangelical numbers swelled. And again, it's like a lot of people, they're like, um, it's like it's easier to go to a mega church, right? Like I'm not like no offense to people who go to these places, but it's like you just go there, you sing, it's like a concert, and you go home. There's no commitment there. Like if you're a Catholic, if you're like you have to have a commitment. You have this, you go to confession, you go to mass, you have to keep track of the liturgical calendars. And even like the older Protestant, the classical Protestant sects, they still do that too. But like when you're like the mega church kind of thing, you don't even know what you're gonna hear the next week, like there isn't any order to it.
Yeah, the commercialization. I think the right word is the commercialization of religion. Uh,
Hmm.
really, what's going on in America? It's kind of a long line to thread, but is there a thread between that commercialization of religion and more shootings?
I mean, I think in a sense that like Americans, like I said, they lost their form. They don't know how to act. So
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
they say
yeah.
there's a loss of civility, and people try to blame it on Trump. And like, are you serious? No, America lost their like. beliefs, right? They lost their national church. They don't know how to act. They don't know where the line is being drawn, right? And that's why there's no more civility. That's why people don't know how to act. It's not Trump, you know.
So it's Trump is like more of the what the symptom
Yeah,
instead of
symptom. Yeah.
cause. Symptom is something different. Last interesting point. I really think this will only further strengthen Trump's case, Trump's campaign.
Yeah, definitely. Again, that's why I think some leftists think this is all staged, which again is ridiculous, but I can see I can see the logic, you know.
Yeah. Did you see that meme? There was a meme. There's a picture on top, Trump after he literally got shot and he was like pumping his fists.
Oh yeah.
And then below it, Biden after literally nothing happens and he was on the ground falling.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like day and night, man. It's like it's it's like I think like they regretted like having Joe Biden, like whoever put him there, they regretted having him there. So, you know, but that's their own fault, like
Yeah. And I read someone wrote, but replacing him would be even worse because replacing him, like the Democrats, okay, they're in a disaster right now, but replacing him would be even worse because replacing him would be admitting at the last minute we're gonna change because we've screwed up so badly. Isn't that right? They
I
kind of
mean,
have to
yeah, but
just
that's
double down and
like we're just gonna double down and like let an old man like just suffer there. It's like, this guy could die in office, like literally drop off dead, and you're not gonna like it's unbelievable. It's
yeah, well, it's unfortunate you cannot vote there. I'm definitely sure who you would vote for. When was it? September?
yeah, September. I mean, I think I might be able to do it in like the embassy, but I don't know. It's like so
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks for the conversation, and definitely I can't see a world where Biden somehow wins, especially after this.
yeah, I mean, who knows? Like they might pull weird stuff, but yeah, I don't see it at the moment either.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for the volunteers.
All right, yeah,
See
next
ya.
time.